Book 3, 7 Daily Conspiracies by King John, official audiobook. Through the time I have been on this journey as an author, I have come across many people fascinated by conspiracies that are full of lies and deceit. These topics seem to interest these individuals so much they would spend hours speaking and listening to these conspiracies. I have taken the time to put together information that will help put an end to these daily conspiracies. Follow me in this section of the Seventh Seal. King John. Chapter 1. The Flat Earth. Many individuals often cite NASA when discussing the flat and round Earth theories, saying, "You believe in NASA?" However, it is important to note that the sun lies at the center of this particular solar system as agreed upon by 7 premier space agencies. These include NASA, the Russian Federation Space Agency, RFSA, the European Space Agency, ESA, the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, the China National Space Administration, CNSA, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, and the Space Studies Institution in California, SSI. All 7 acknowledge the solar system's central star. Flat earthers contend that the world has collectively lied to us about something that would fundamentally alter all perception of the universe. This is a deliberate ploy meant to sow confusion. The Bible claims that God is not the author of confusion, 1 Corinthians 14:33. Let us take that as our starting point. One aspect to explore is the firmament. Certain individuals who are self-reportedly knowledgeable about the Bible have compromised their faith by adhering to the flat earth concepts. They contend this on account of the firmament discussed in Genesis 1-6. The English word is firmament, while the original Hebrew text employs the term rakia, H7549 in the Hebrew Concordance, meaning extended surface, not flat. Its meaning suggests a support of the gaseous form of water, or the troposphere. Situated above the Earth's crust, the name is derived from the troposphere's spherical shape, its encirclement of the Earth. The troposphere is not only the point at which the Earth's crust is located, but it is also surrounded by other spheres: the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, the exosphere. These spheres collectively comprise the firmament and are expected to provide support to gases or waters in their gaseous form or radiation. The stratosphere, which constitutes the beginning of gaseous organisms or vapors beyond the Earth, is approximately 33,000 feet above the ground. It is highly unlikely that the sun details so distinctively with the Earth aircraft fly into an altitude of roughly 15,000 feet, and there is still no sun in sight. The sun is exterior to the atmosphere in the realm of the heavens and the Earth that were created together. Consequently, the Earth's atmosphere represents everything from the crust to the exosphere. The sun and the moon must have been formed with the rest of the heavens, as shown in Genesis 1:16, in which God places the sun and moon in specific positions within the firmament of heaven. It is sometimes inferred by some persons that Isaiah 11:12 is alluding to the corners of the earth, but this is incorrect. The verse speaks of 4 points, north, west, south, and east, that correspond to the cross. These directions are unconnected with the earth's shape. The Bible and the people that speak about it were motivated by God to write these scriptures. 2 Timothy 3:16 tells us all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is possible for doctrine, reproof, correction, and instruction in righteousness. As a result, they remain constrained by the limits of their earthbound consciousness. Humans have access to a single mind, but they are limited regarding the information available to them. The human race has been gradually evolving to acquire knowledge and understanding that will help us deliver and develop closer to a complete understanding of God. We live in a new era where we have started realizing the significance of scientific and intellectual discoveries, and knowledge has increasingly become accessible to every individual. As humans, we share a single consciousness, which limits our access to information. As we progress in our evolution as a species, we acquire knowledge and insight that helps us draw closer to a full understanding of God. We are currently living in the time where we have made significant strides and we know much more than ever before. All in all, it is safe to say that people lack knowledge of the Earth's appearance until the Apollo program. The Apollo 11 mission brought back samples from the moon that could not have been obtained on Earth or manufactured artificially. This alone proves that the United States have indeed landed on the moon, and the conspiracy theories surrounding it are nothing more than deliberate attempts to cause confusion and division amongst individuals in the government. Our world has seasons, but why is this so? According to scientists worldwide, it is because the Earth rotates on its axis to produce night and day, and also orbits the sun in an elliptical orbit that takes around 365.25 days to complete. This orbit tilts and is responsible for the seasons we experience due to the Earth being a varying distances from the sun throughout the year. Approximately 94 million miles separate us on average. In distant history, Greek astronomer Aristarchus of Samos is famously known for being the first person to measure the distance to the sun. Aristarchus used the phases of the moon to determine the sun and moon sizes and distances. According to his ideas, when half of the moon is visible during the Earth's night, Earth's and the moon's center create a line that's in heaven that form a 90-degree angle with another line that runs through the sun's center all the way to the moon's center. Using trigonometry, Aristarchus was able to determine the triangle's hypotenuse. Aristarchus' original equation was flawed, which modern-day scientists have since perfected. When we now know that the sun is positioned over 94 million miles from the Earth and have precise knowledge of its size, Aristarchus and Aristotle have played a pivotal role in developing our current understanding of the world through logical analysis, and we have the Catholic Church to blame for their initial repression of Galileo's assertion that the Earth revolves around the sun. The notion that the Earth is flat, square-shaped, and unique in the universe is still propagated by a few individuals and is patently absurd. Lying about such an insignificant detail, even if it were true, would be unnecessary and questionable. If the Earth were anything but mostly spherical, everything we know would become meaningless and we would be left with chaos. Such a situation will only serve Satan's interest in misleading the world. Some individuals contend that the Earth is not completely flat, but in any case, the sun, considering its size and heat, cannot be within the Earth's atmosphere. It constitutes 99.8% of our galaxy, and the universe is far more extensive than we can fathom. The tremendous size of the sun produces a gravitational pull on all other planets, and each planet has its own gravitational pull that maintains order and position, resulting in a natural cycle among celestial bodies. Flat earthers reject this concept and deny the existence of gravity. They insist that magnetic declination, describing changes in the direction of magnetic fields at locations across the Earth, is a suitable explanation, but this notion is entirely baseless. Another nonsensical argument purported by flat earthers is the falsehood that the distance traversed by a pilot en route to a destination is subject to variation as a result of flight patterns. This claim is purely absurd. Distance, a scalar quantity, does not undergo modifications due to transversing paths along zigzagging or meandering trajectories. Given that the Earth is spherical in shape, aircraft operators are able to chart the most direct path between two places, enabling them to reach their destination quicker than if they had chosen to cut through the totality of the United States, as is some the cases when traveling from California to China. Flat earthers make such silly claims as denying the existence of gravity, asserting that all magnetic objects on the Earth should be attracted to the sun or moon, or flight patterns that's based on the path that a plane travels. The Earth's magnetic energy is insignificant and insufficient to influence the sun or moon's movements, and the sun and moon possess their own magnetic force, raising further questions about how the Earth can pull them without being crushed in between. Gravity, on the other hand, is the result of the mass of an object creating force, which others surrounding objects act on, consistent with their object and ejective mass and force. Such an understanding serves as the basis for the creation of planes, kites, and drones, and also sheds light on how insects and birds fly. It is desirable to conduct further research on these topics and avoid falling prey to flat earther claims. The Earth is not flat. Chapter 2. Did male or female precede each other? Following the cosmic expansion of the divine essence, i.e. the Big Bang, Earth remained in a state of thermal turbulence and instability. However, after a cooling phase, life started to take shape. It is believed that mankind constitutes a subtype of tetrapod sexual reproductive organisms. Despite the imperfection of evolution, it is generally agreed that life on Earth radiated out from a common root that originated from aquatic organism that transitioned onto land. The tetrapod could be considered as the remnants of those creatures. Humans ultimately evolved from Sahelanthropus, a creature with an androgynous morphology that emerged from the tetrapods. Thus, Adam, as the first human created, is distinctively different from any other animal on Earth, likely due to divine intervention. Upon formation of Adam from dust, God infused intangible qualities into his creation that did not exist in any other species. Eve, for example, was created from one of Adam's ribs via parthenogenesis, or the word salah in the Hebrew that was used in the book of Genesis. As Adam was evolving from an asexual state, he physically transmuted into a different form as a divine feminine and masculine balance was restored. Evidence of this consists of male nipples, which were functional in a different evolutionary state. Eve's biological structure served as a precursor to the emergence of a new human species such as Cain, Abel, Seth, and those who followed. Billions or even trillions of years ago, the first cell appeared in the predominant waters and fused with the Spirit of God. From this single cell, replication led to emergence of multicellular creatures. The first single-cell organism appeared in the planet's primordial waters, and this cell was imbued with God's essence. Through cell duplication, various life forms emerged. As these cells acquired the capability to engage in sexual reproduction, newer, more complex genetic variations were created. Mutation over time led to a diversity of species in the water, as scripted in Genesis 1 and 20, where water was instructed to birth a multitude of living creatures, traversing both the aquatic and the aerial spaces. Over time, these aquatic creatures ventured into the land, spawning new species, as alluded to in Genesis 1 and 24, where the earth itself produced various types of living beings. One species was the primitive fish Mylomykingia, which adapted to feed on Earth's dust and evolved into four-limbed tetrapods like the Ichthyostega. Over the ages, our ancestors, once lizards, had to adapt to the environment to survive and learn to exploit it by feeding on flying, crawling insects. After millions of years, we evolved into the actinian cynodonts of the prehistoric Jurassic era, which eventually engendered a mammal-like species during the age of the dinosaurs. In order to avoid extinction, our ancient ancestors were evolved into a mammal rat-like creature called the batodon. It had to adapt to their rapidly changing environment. Their agility and increasing weight eventually allowed them to evolve into the first humanoid-type mammals. Through a series of evolutionary transformations, including the emergence of primate species such as Purgatorius and Altialagus, God ultimately evolved us into Ramapithecus before creating Adam. These evolutionary ancestors were neither male nor female, but rather androgynous in nature. However, the existence of XY chromosomes indicate that male have always existed, as well as female. Rather than debating the order of man's and woman's appearance on Earth, it is better to simply appreciate God's diverse creation. When men and women come together, it creates a unique and beautiful union that transcends any intellectual debate of which came first. Focusing on past events, which we may never fully comprehend, will only hinder our ability to work towards a brighter future. It is important to recognize that man, without the Y chromosome, could not exist. Women do not possess or pass down the Y chromosome to bestow upon their offspring. Both the X and Y chromosome are potent and distinctive components of the genetic code that have always existed. There are those who assert that the black woman is God, when in actuality, we are all divine creations and children of the Most High God. Galatians 3 and 28 declares that there is no distinction between Jew or Greek, bond or free, male or female, because we are all united in Christ. According to that, mankind predates Adam. He was nothing more than terrestrial debris. Debris is this context, being a substance from the earth. The debris that originated exists in the waters eventually coalesced with the earth debris. God then took the debris, also known as primates, and fashioned what we recognize as Adam. This process by which God created man has been referred to as evolution by scientists. While Charles Darwin's theory of evolution is not entirely erroneous, it is essentially not wholly true. Further inquiry into the intricacies of genetics and evolutionary processes is required for a thorough understanding. Consequently, mankind was derived from a male and female piece of evolved debris from the earth. Woman, attracted from Adam via God's use of parthenogenesis, developed asexual, while Adam retained animalistic features that originated from the male and female XXY untampered original chromosome set. In theory, Evolved pieces of debris. While the theory suggests that man were the first to be created, the precise evolutionary process remains uncertain. But I must say that this is the closest understanding with bias. Chapter 3, the Holy Scriptures. The first book to be designated as the Bible was the Septuagint, which was a Greek translation ordered to be made by Ptolemy II Philadelphus. It is believed that his father plundered the ancient writings from all the original temples in Alexandria. Although there is some dispute among scholars as to what truly occurred, this information is documented in the letter of Aristeas and is recognized by the Holy Scriptures and the Holy Spirit, which provides understanding through the Scriptures. The people who migrated from ancient Sumer brought ahead knowledge passed down from previous generations that dated back to times prior to the flood. The people of Assyria descended from Noah, and these writings made their way to ancient Kemet in various scrolls, along with other texts from accounts following the liberation from slavery. The term slavery is Egypt, which is why the Bible speaks of Israelites being taken into Egypt. Egypt stems from a Hebrew term, Mizraim, H4714 in the Hebrew Concordance, which means bondage. While occurrence in the Bible took place in Kemet, what the scripture says about Egypt does not always align with ancient Kemet. Before Greek translations, the Bible consisted of many books and was not yet compiled into one single book. Ptolemy compensated 72 Greek-speaking Jewish individuals to translate the language of the stolen text. Afterwards, many books were added to and translated from the script. This book was used as the basis for the Ethiopian Bible, which was later translated into Amharic. In 1604, King James assembled 50 professional writers to translate an English edition, which became the first complete English Bible made available for mass printing. It allowed widespread dissemination of the Holy Scriptures and offered a response to the Catholic Church, which oppressed expanding access to the Bible. In 32 AD, Constantine established the Nicene Creed a long while before this, which restricted which the books of the Bible were to be acknowledged and which books of the Bible were to be taken out, resulting in the formation of a widely accepted canon. Constantine established the Nicene Creed, which prescribed a limited selection of respected books of the Bible and resulted in teaching specific doctrines, including the veneration of Jesus as the Most High God and the prevented potential messiahs from arising on account of their human qualities, which Jesus himself was born with. Additionally, the doctrine of the Trinity was introduced, ignoring the balance of the masculine and feminine aspects of God's image, as stated in Genesis 1:26. Furthermore, the doctrine resulted in the name of God appearing to be Jesus, when in reality, Jesus himself stated in John 5:43 that he comes in his Father's name. This means that whatever name people were calling him was not the true name he came in. However, all translations today agree with each other when interpreted correctly. The doctrine of the Trinity has removed the possibility from mankind to follow Jesus' teachings, which proclaim that we have within us the power to be like him and to be one with the Most High God by loving God and loving our neighbors as ourselves. One grave misunderstanding due to the letter J being erroneously added as a separate sound than the letter I by Gian Giorgio Trissino, which resulted in the name Jesus from the original Jesus. The real name Jesus was named after the prophecy in Isaiah 7:14, which was fulfilled in Matthew 1:23. One of many reasons people interpret the Bible is due to what they are told. For example, people have been wrongly informed that the Bible was used to enslave black people. This is completely ignorant because of the fact slavery was in existence before the writings of the Bible by Moses, who himself liberated the slaves. The Bible serves to demonstrate God's character and the love and mercy that he extended to humanity. The Bible serves as a guide to correct human behavior, which can lead to destruction. Leviticus 18:28 explains why God has given us his law. If we choose to destroy the law, we will perish just like the nations before us who did all the things that we were told not to do. It is important to recognize that slavery in the Bible is different from what black people went through. Deuteronomy 15:11 notes that poor people will always exist in that they should be allowed to serve, and after 6 years, they must be released with resources. Ephesians 6:5 instructs slaves to obey their masters as they will obey God. It does not encourage the worship of slave masters, but rather it emphasizes respect for one another. Ephesians 6:9 also reminds slave masters to treat their slaves with honor and dignity, since they are accountable to the Most High God, who is not biased towards any individual. Additionally, Exodus 21:20 states that if a slave is struck by his master and dies, the owner shall be punished. Being a slave owner is a choice, but it does not mean that a person should mistreat their slaves. As human beings, we have a free will, which often leads to sinful actions. Just because the Bible provides guidelines regarding a particular action does not mean that action is accepted in the fact of God's eyes. For instance, God never intended us to consume animals, as stated in Genesis 1:29. We should eat alkaline food. But after the fall, humans began to consume animals. To deal with this situation, God provided guidelines on what animals are clean or unclean since people had already begun eating them. It's important to remember that slavery is a personal choice for both servant and master. Some might observe that death or poverty is worse than serving for 6 years as a servant. Ultimately, the direct biblical statement in Exodus 21:16 defines that one should not kidnap and enslave another person. Exodus 21:16 shows that the Bible unequivocally prohibits the stealing and enslavement of another human being. Unfortunately, there are those who misinterpret the Bible by claiming that it condones rape. They use Deuteronomy 22:28 as their basis, which states that if a man manipulates a unmarried woman into sleeping with him, he must pay the father and not be allowed to leave her for the rest of his days. However, the Hebrew word tafas, H8610 in the Hebrew concordance, meaning manipulate, was translated to the English as lay hold, but it actually means to manipulate. Therefore, this verse is intended to protect women from being exploited sexually rather than to condone rape. Deuteronomy 22:25 depicts how rape is not acceptable, and those who perpetrate it will be punished by death. In verse 26 of Deuteronomy 22, the Bible equates rape against a woman with the killing of a man. People must not believe these lies about the Bible and should study it instead. It is important to understand the war mind of God as well, which is described in Exodus 15:3 as that of a warrior. Nevertheless, the essential point is that violence has its place in specific situations. When evil attacks good, they must fight to defend themselves, as highlighted by Ecclesiastes 3:3. Humans have chosen to side with evil and remain silent when evil strikes, but when God retaliates, people become vocal about the morality of violence. In Numbers 31:17, the Israelites are ordered to eliminate a nation of people that follow witchcraft and practice evil against God's people. A careful study of the Bible clearly reveals that God maintains perfect balance. If U.S. citizens were attacked, it would be foolish to not defend themselves. Hence, as Mark 3:27 reveals, it is impossible to defeat a strong man unless he is bound first, indicating that at some point you have to fight that strong man. Chapter 4, Mental Well-Being. The complexities surrounding the realm of mental well-being are often underestimated. It is typical for individuals to disregard or overlook possible symptoms. Attaining peace of mind involves correct thought processing, one that adheres to the tenets of universal harmony. Misinformation, however, is a common cause of mental distress, which disrupts this harmony. Unfortunate as it may seem, most individuals remain unaware of this dynamic. Consequently, they suffer in silence. Pain, for instance, is a physical manifestation of confusion and misunderstanding within the mind. It is a common misconception that people should simply suck it up. To attain mental clarity, individuals should gain a complete understanding of their pain and eliminate its source altogether. Amid situation of confusion, one must learn to exercise discernment. This can be achieved by observing people's reactions and psychological understandings. In this regard, the book of Proverbs offers a helpful guide for individuals. With experience, individuals can attain greater wisdom. This wisdom consequently strengthens and brings discipline. Such discipline is necessary to maintain a healthy thought life, one that aligns with godly principles. Unfortunately, the world is awash with misinformation, often orchestrated by Satan himself. It is increasingly challenging to avoid negative thoughts. Mental health issues such as narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, can be troubling. However, it is important to note that NPD is not always a deplorable trait. Self-love and confidence are crucial attributes that leaders and messengers should undoubtedly possess. A balanced psyche is vital in maintaining healthy narcissistic tendencies without resorting to shame. In cases where an individual cannot meet these standards, NPD is often the outcome, which can impede their ability to supply the actions and tools required to foster growth and personal development. The overcoming of narcissistic personality disorder, one must take full accountability of one's action and flaws. Life can often be unpredictable, and one must learn to accept both the good and the bad without losing balance. Refusing to accept the bad often leads to failure in the future. Understanding the concept of love is critical in attaining mental well-being, as it enables healing of the mind. Following the 7 concepts from Seal 7, Chapter 4 can help individuals practice love, which is patience, understanding, care, correction, long-suffering, loyalty, and faithfulness simultaneously. Let's go over all 7 concepts. Number 1, patience. A, discerning what a person might need from you in the moment. B, suppressing anger and recognizing one's emotions. C, refraining from interrupting someone while speaking. D, waiting without complaints. Number 2, understanding. A, paying attention to details and observing analytically. B, comprehending what is being spoken and recognizing issues. C, empathizing with others. Number 3, care. A, learning a person's likes and dislikes, happiness and sadnesses. B, demonstrating appreciation and admiration. C, being in the moment with that person and showing concern. Number 4, correction. A, listening to others and recognizing right from wrong. B, expressing one's feeling without being offended. C, teaching without sounding condescending. D, correcting with love. E, offering solutions rather than just stating someone is wrong. 5, long suffering. A, acknowledging that every day presents a new challenge. B, expressing one's emotion before the day ends. C, living in the moment and cherishing it. D, loving what is present today without fear of what may come tomorrow. Number 6, loyalty. A, staying true to one's word and following through with commitments. B, consistency and loyalty. C, exercising unwavering loyalty into the end. D, overcoming lust and desires in the name of loyalty. E, giving up is not an option and it bears no reward. F, disloyalty includes exposing oneself to harmful energies that have the potential to harm the relationship or friendship. 7, faithfulness. A, having faith in that a person with whom you enter a relationship with can overcome all obstacles. B, holding on to hope and faith in the person you love. C, trusting without the need to see. And D, refusing to give up during hard times. These 7 concepts of love are the cure to various mental health issues, including narcissistic personality disorder. It is imperative to teach these principles worldwide. One cannot truly love without understanding what it is. As God is not the author of confusion, love cannot have 2 different meanings. Love can only be one, and that love is God. Take the time to yourself to love yourself by following these principles. Bipolar disorder is a mental health condition resulting from depression. Depression can be caused by traumatic experiences initiated by individuals who are possessed by Satan, thereby altering the victim's perception of life. Such situations may lead to one expecting the worst, thereby causing one to bury the experiences in a bid to move on. Unfortunately, the trauma may resurface when reminded of the experiences, leading to innocent individuals suffering from other people's actions. Healthy relationships demand that individuals avoid trauma bonding, which occurs when people only get along because they can avoid facing the trauma with someone else who is also scared to confront it. This only results in prolonging the healing process and eventually separation from people needed. More severe instances of mental health disorder, such as schizophrenia, stem from unattended mental health challenges aggravated by drug abuse and neglect of cognitive faculties. Such a condition is perilous and can only be treated with genuine love. A manifestation of insincere disposition may abruptly trigger the patient in question. Mental health is an authentic phenomenon, not a theoretical plot. The provision of labels for actual comprehension of what is precisely a lack of self-love and understanding of divinity is the actual conspiracy. Dividing the same conditions into various illnesses only results in bewilderment. Regrettably, mental health research suffers from misinterpretation of how our brain operates, thereby misconstruing each fallacious understanding as a distinct illness, though they all signify the same predicament. Rectifying this situation will aid in addressing the primary cause of the surge in mental health issues. Do not use this book to self-diagnose and see a professional mental health expert for further evaluation. Chapter 5. The existence of extraterrestrial life. When God decided to expand God's soul by 15%, the creation of numerous galaxies ensued. An explosion resulted in the dispersal of stars, planets, and debris all over the omniverse, which were then arranged in a divine order. Each galaxy consists of numerous suns and forms in its own solar system. Life began to flourish on some planets when the suns exploded via supernova. Several other universes and galaxies have planets that are in close proximity to their respective suns, producing an atmosphere alike that of the Earth capable of supporting life. However, it is uncertain if this life form has progressed into a humanoid. Nonetheless, the probability of intelligent life existing on other planets in various solar systems is highly likely. Certain individuals claim that life on Earth commenced due to a meteorite that crash landed, imparting minerals that catalyze the creation of life as we know it. With that in mind, the possibility of a similar event happening in other solar systems is quite promising. Supposedly, a group of aliens traveled from a planet designated X with the exceptional orbit around this solar system that stretches into the farthest regions of space. These deities landed on Earth to search for resources required to stabilize their atmosphere. The likelihood that they did not return is perplexing. It is untrue that these deities created humanity. It is theorized that these deities were the minerals from the meteor that landed on Earth. The meteorite, according to some, was the spaceship in question. This context suggests that God possesses a system to guide meteorites to Earth, thereby providing these deities-like beings being minerals that facilitate the evolution and development of life on Earth. The theory of another intelligent alien race creating human beings is currently circulating. Though conceivably possible, it lacks irrefutable evidence to support or counter it. In this scenario, it is plausible that God devised a mechanism to allow the meteorite to collide with Earth and introduce these divine beings, minerals, to support the evolution of life on Earth. Another theory gaining popularity is that the possibility of another extraterrestrial race creating humanity. Though improbable, with the evolution and development of intelligent beings that possess the capability to travel across different planets and return, the notion that something akin to this occurred cannot be dismissed entirely. Regardless, these beings too would have been created by the Almighty God. Conspiracy theories concerning aliens exist to distract attention from the evidence of God, which is fruitless. A theory suggests that we are all individuals who came from specific stars and form physical characteristics. The supernova being the primary cause of life implies that it is probable to take this stance. We can perceive how God employed the explosion of stars at the ideal time to facilitate the emergence of life. At that moment, we transformed into minerals. The laws of nature and the planet's elements instigated by God brought us into existence. The ancient people who ascribe divinity to different facets of God. This explains why people think there are several gods when in actuality there is only one true God. God created everything in the omniverse, exclusive of any aliens that may exist. This same process that humanity experienced on Earth must have been endured by every living being aside from God. God is the process itself. Supposing intelligent life inhabiting other planets is entirely possible with access to water production capability. Alien may appear similar to us, and varying mineral structures on different planets would result in distinguished physical characteristics. These beings would develop limbs based on their specific planet's environmental requirements. We can observe how God capitalize on the explosion of stars at the perfect moment to give rise to life, observed when we transform into minerals. The natural laws and elements of Earth environment created by God were used to bring us into existence. Ancient societies would ascribe divinity to various aspects of God, which is why people assume the existence of multiple gods when in reality the Almighty God created everything in the omniverse, including potential aliens. Everything that we know of today, aside from God, underwent the same process of evolution that humans experience on Earth. In this sense, God is the process that facilitates the emergence of life. Evolution is the fundamental principle by which alien life formed just like human beings on Earth. God is not restricted to any planet, thereby providing strong reason to believe that intelligent life on other planets capable of sustaining liquid water could exist. These extraterrestrial beings could bear a striking resemblance to humans, and their physical makeup is influenced by the minerals contained on their respective planets. For instance, they could appear gray if their motors are gray minerals. Aliens would develop similar limbs in humans based on their environmental needs. There exist various alien races that people believe to be true, though most of these are lies. What's factual is that evolution is likely still transpiring and new humanoid species could undergo their initial development phases, emerging from reptiles or other creatures, making them appear as what society refers to as aliens. Nevertheless, one must practice discernment and not believe everything you see or hear. Chapter 6, the Illuminati. The Perfectibilists, also known as the Illuminati, was a society that Johann Adam Weishaupt allegedly established in 1776. The following year, he purportedly joined the Freemasons, using their influence to recruit members. Supposedly, Weishaupt arranged a hierarchy that placed him as an enlightened Minerval, whereas the regular Minervals were beneath him, and the novice members held the lowest rank. The enlightened Minervals believed they were a conduit for the spirit of a fictitious Greek goddess of wisdom. Weishaupt's compatriot, Baron Adolf Knigge, a high-ranking Freemason, allegedly assisted him in growing the society. Weishaupt reconstructed the organization and created a new order, which the nursery level comprised of 3 branches: novice, Minervals, and enlightened Minervals. The masonry level contained the symbolic branch, which consisted of 4 degrees: apprentice, fellow craft, master mason, Illuminati, major Scottish mason. The Scottish branch solitary component was the Illuminati, the origins. Scottish Knights, while the mystery branch encompassed 2 sub-branches, lesser and greater. The lesser sub-branch was encompassed of the prince and priest degrees, while the greater sub-branch contained the magus and the king degrees. This structure mimicked the Catholic Church arrangement, which was purportedly influenced by Satan. This blueprint is used in every influential environment, and Satan requires real secret societies that worship idols among his followers to execute this government system with the Catholic Church at the helm. To overcome this scheme, God's lost children must unite and shine a light on darkness that Satan is using to keep people ignorant. Satan has exploited music as a goading tool in the past, and now social media serves as the principal outlet. Merely by flicking a thumb, evil can saturate this generation. Nevertheless, this generation is ready to cleanse the world of depravity, and the truth shall succeed. Satan's most buried secret is that he will perish if everyone embodies love, which is God. However, people have used the Illuminati as a tactic to disregard the evil that their entertainment propagates and creates. The Illuminati itself means the enlightened ones, but false enlightenment is not worth pursuing. The Catholic Church's past tends to be controversial. Upon thorough investigation, it is evident that their foundation is fortified with falsehoods and war. God is not the instigator of confusion, and in this scenario, we must make the truth known and challenge Satan's army, as Ephesians 6:12 proclaims. We are at war with a far more significant power than what our eyes can discern. Many individuals are not aware of the extent of their wickedness, and they unwittingly act as conduits for devils. This is neither a laughing matter nor a conspiracy. It is factual. Chapter 7. Does God exist? The answer to the inquiry is rhetorical, as it is an undeniable fact that God exists. Any rational individual on earth believes in a source of creation, which by definition and understanding is none other than God. We must shed our emotional attachments to falsehoods and embrace truth as the catalyst for growth and learning. God represents the perfect balance between masculine and feminine forces and is the epitome of love. As per 1 John 4:7, we are of God if we embody love, and God, being love, embodies us. From chapter 4, we know that love is the essence of life. God also represents the mind, or the word, with logos, from the Greek concordance John 1:1, the word, signifying the concept of the mind. God is the original precept or thought. With his existence being perpetual, everything we see today is a consequence of just the right amount of power which God meticulously employed to create the world and all that exists within it. Evidence of God's existence is ubiquitous and undeniable. Those individuals who deny the existence of God are mostly those who engage in unethical activities and require justification for their erroneous decisions. Moreover, those people are mostly seeking company for their misery and pain, attempting to distract themselves from impeding consequences by turning away from the laws of God. This never works in their favor, as success does not come with material wealth, power, respect, or beauty. It only comes with the embodiment of love. Jesus taught us to love one another as ourselves and to embody the qualities of God, achieving perfection in all of our endeavors. If we wish to be like God and embody his qualities, we must practice patience, care, understanding, correction, long-suffering, loyalty, and faithfulness in conjunction. Mankind cannot accurately predict the future and can merely attempt to divine God's will. Romans 8:28 teaches us that when we love God, who embodies the essence of love, and have purpose in our lives, we can be assured that ultimately all things will work together for our good. God has a divine plan in place that will ultimately benefit those who embody love and enable them to become kings over the earth, even as God is in heaven. God has bestowed upon us the mantle of rulership on earth by calling us in his name. God's name is synonymous with love, and Jesus referred to God as Father. The word patriarch, G3962 in the Greek concordance, means source or both parents, indicating that God is the all-encompassing source of all life and the balance between positive and negative energy, while Satan represents an obstacle to our ultimate goal of achieving the perfection of love. It is through this strife that we can prove our steadfast love for God. As an expression of his boundless love, God has given us dominion over the earth to serve as rulers in his kingdom. This has been 7 Daily Conspiracies, official audiobook by King John. Thank you.